Good morning, Prealgebra. So guys, I want to spend one last week on this kind of mini lesson that's 5-3 and lesson 5-4. And guys, I've had a lot of emails and a lot of questions over these two lessons, just kind of maybe some frustration and some confusion along with them. And I want to say I really hope if you're emailing me that you are going through, taking the time, watching these videos, you're doing your part by writing the notes down, and really kind of practicing these problems with me, because this practice, guys, it's going to be the best that we can do right now, especially not being in the classroom. I also want to say there's other resources out there to use, so I don't mind helping out. And please, please, please email me if you do have any questions. Email me if you have any concerns with it. Let me know. So that helps tell me that we maybe need to spend a little extra time on this section here, okay? But like I said, let's make sure we're doing our part as well. Now, let's go ahead and let's get started with, again, this kind of mini section. So I've got a couple problems over this 5-3 and this 5-4. And I want to touch back up on. So all this dealt with, guys, was 5-3 was with substitution, and 5-4 dealt with elimination. And again, we had one goal in all of this. And our one goal was to find x and to find y. So this is my goal on every single one of these problems, is I want to have x equals something and I want to have a y equals something. All right, so let's go through here and let's see if we can maybe try and find what x and y are. Now, the first problem, the first three, we're going to do through substitution. So I'm going to label substitution above these problems. So I'm going to do these first three through substitution. So remember, with substitution, you had to have one of your variables alone. One of your variables had to be by itself. And lucky for us, on this first problem, we've got a variable by itself. My very first equation, y, is alone. So I have y equals 6x minus 11. And then my second equation is negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 7. So again, I've already got y equals. Y is already by itself. So I can already begin to substitute for y. So everywhere that I see a y, I'm going to plug in what it equals. I'm going to plug in 6x minus 11. So I'm going to rewrite this and substitute in for y. So it's going to be negative 2x minus 3. Well, now I came across the y. So I'm going to put what y is equal to. So 6x minus 11. And remember, we're keeping it in parentheses. And I'm going to finish my equation off by putting this equal to negative 7. And then from there, guys, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to continue to solve just like we normally would. So the first thing I need to do is I need to distribute. So let's go through and let's distribute this negative 3 into my parentheses. So negative 2x, and then when I take negative 3 times 6x, I get negative 18x. Negative 3 times negative 11, that's going to give me a positive 33. And I'm going to finish writing my equation, equals negative 7. All right, now let's go through and let's get x by itself here. So let's combine like terms. So negative 2x minus 18x. Again, if you need help, plug it in your calculator. So if I type this one in, negative 2 minus 18, there you go, negative 20. Negative 20x plus 33 equals negative 7. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 33. So I have negative 20x is equal to negative 7 minus 33, negative 40. Last step, I need to get x by itself, so we are going to divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 20. X equals negative 40 divided by negative 20 equals 2. So x equals 2. And there you have it. Guys, please, 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 if you do find that you're someone that's maybe not picking this lesson up very well, make sure you've got all this down. Don't shorthand it. I'm not skipping any steps here, so make sure we have all the steps down in our notebooks. Please, please, please. All right, from here, I need to find y, because remember, my goal was to find x and y. So I found x. So now I need to take x, and I'm going to plug it back in to one of these equations. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to pick the first equation. So y equals 6. I came across an x, and I'm going to plug 2 in, minus 11. So I go through and I solve. Y is equal to 6 times 2. That's equal to 12. 12 minus 11. That's equal to 1. So y equals 1. And there you have it. X equals 2. Y equals 1. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, I have 2x minus 3y equals negative 1. Y minus x equals 1. And again, we're still going to solve through substitution. All right, through substitution. Remember, we have to get a variable by itself. I told you guys last time when we did the videos on these, pick a variable that does not have a number in front of it. It'll be a lot easier to get that one by itself. Notice this y and this x by themselves. So we need to move one of these to the other side. I'm going to get y by itself. I'm going to add x to the other side. So if I add x to the other side, I get y equals 1 plus x. So now I've got two equations, and one of them is equal to a variable. So I can begin to solve now. So I'm going to plug in 1 plus x everywhere that I see a y in this top equation. So let's go ahead and begin. So 2x minus 3. I'm going to plug in for y now. Remember, do your parentheses. 1 plus x equals negative 1. Guys, this equation should be identical to this top equation, with the only difference being where there's a y, you plugged in what y equals, 1 plus x. Let's go through and let's distribute here. Let's begin to get x by itself. So I distribute, I'm going to get 2x minus 3 minus 3x. And that's equal to negative 1. We combine like terms, 2x, 3x. So I'm doing 2 minus 3. When I take 2 minus 3, I get negative 1x. Now I'm going to continue writing everything else. So negative 1x minus 3 equals negative 1. Last step, I need to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 3 to the other side. Negative 1x is equal to negative 1 plus 3 is equal to 2. Final step, I need to get x by itself. So we need to get rid of this negative here. So I'm going to just divide by negative 1. So when I divide by -1, x is going to be equal to -2. So there we go. -2 is equal to x. Let's go ahead and let's find now what y is going to be equal to. So I'm going to take -2, I'm going to plug it back into my original equation. Doesn't matter which of these equations, guys, you plug them into because they're all equal to one of the originals. These were my two original equations. And this third equation, it's equal to the second one. So you can plug it into any equation. There's really no place to go wrong here as long as you plug a -2 into one of these equations in for x. That's the great thing, guys, about substitution and elimination. There's really not a lot of place to go wrong on them because you can plug it into almost anything. I'm going to take this last equation and I'm going to plug it in to that one. So y equals 1 plus -2. So y is equal to 1 plus -2. Y is going to be equal to -1. There you go. X equals -2. Y equals -1. Guys, maybe number 3, guys, would be a good one to try on your own. So maybe pause the video, hit resume, and compare your answer to mine and see how you did. Let's pick up on number 3 here, and again, still want to keep up with that same theme of getting a variable by itself. And I've already noticed on this one, again, we're going to solve through substitution. I've already noticed on this one that one of my variables, there's no number out front. I've got -5x plus y equals -3. And I've also got 3x minus 8y equals 24. There's nothing with my y. So this variable I'm going to try and get by itself. So I'm going to add that 5x to the other side. And by doing so, I get y equals -3 plus 5x. So now I've got two equations, and one of them is a y equals. You can still get x equals on these. It just so happened, guys, that all three of these turned into a y equals. So now everywhere that I see a y, I'm going to plug it into this original equation up here. So I'm going to start to rewrite it. So 3x minus 8. And then I came across the y, so I'm going to start to write in what y is equal to. And that is equal to 24. And from there, we're going to just simplify this equation then. And we're going to find what x equals. So my first step, I'm going to distribute. So I distribute that -8. So 3x, -8 times -3, positive 24, -8 times 5x, that's going to be equal to -40x. And we're going to put that equal to 24. All right, from here, combine like terms. So 3 minus 40. 3 minus 40 is going to be equal to -37x plus 24 equals 24. From there, I'm going to get x by itself. So I'm going to subtract 24 to the other side. So -37x is equal to 24 minus 24 equals 0. Get x by itself. I'm going to divide by -37. When I divide, x is going to be equal to, and guys, I'm actually kind of glad we're doing an example like this because I don't recall doing one in any of my other videos. X is going to be equal to 0 here. It's okay, guys, to have a variable equal to 0. 0 is still a number. Now, if this had been maybe 0 on the bottom, well, then that you can't do. But if 0 is on the top, absolutely, you can have 0 divided by a number. X is just going to be equal to 0 then in this case. That is A-okay. Final step. I need to find y. That's why I think, again, it's a good idea to circle your answers. Because notice, on number 1, I've got 2 things circled. Number 2, I've got 2 things circled. And on number 3, I've got 1 thing circled, so I need to find my other thing. So let's plug it back in. Let's plug x back into one of these equations. Again, it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to take this last one. So y equals -3 plus 5 times 0. I go through and I solve. -3 plus 0. Y is equal to -3. And there you have it. So x is equal to 0. Y is going to be equal to -3. And guys, that kind of wraps up our substitution section. Again, I hope you're comfortable with it or starting to become more and more comfortable with it. And again, if you have any questions over it, shoot me an email. Leave me a comment, okay? Not really any homework today, per se. Just this note section that I really want you to focus on. Let's go ahead and let's get started with number 4. On this section, number 4, 5, and 6, we're going to solve these through elimination. And notice, guys, this problem looks very similar to what 1, 2, and 3's setup is. They all have 2 equations. They all have an x and a y. They're very similar. You can solve number 4 using substitution. You do not have to use elimination. The reason we're doing it is so you become familiar and you're comfortable with both methods. However, these problems can still be solved by using substitution. So either method works. Let's go ahead and let's begin to use elimination though. So remember, to eliminate something, I needed this front number on one of my variables to be the same. So I need to get one of them to match. A 3 and a 5 is not the same. 3 and a 1 is not the same. So I need to get one of them the same. I cannot multiply a 3 by something to get a 5, and I cannot multiply a 5 by something to get a 3. I can multiply something by 1 to get a 3, and that something is a 3. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 3. So when I go through here and I multiply, I'm going to get -15x. All I'm doing here is distributing. So I'm distributing this 3 into everything in my parentheses. So I'm going to get -15x plus 3y equals 13 times 3, 39. So now, on my y's, that number is the same. I've got a 3 for both of them. So now I can use elimination. And again, I'm going to rewrite this to make this elimination look a little prettier and a little easier to see. And I'm going to use those 2 new equations, or the new equation and its match together. Okay. Now remember, with elimination, we're either adding or subtracting one or the other. How can I make 3 and a 3 turn into 0? I can subtract them. So I'm going to subtract these 2 equations. So let's go and let's begin. So -3 minus -15. That's going to give me 12x. 3 minus 3, 0. That's what we're aiming for. That's what you're trying to get for on all these elimination problems. 3 minus 39. That's going to give me -36. And from here, guys, we're really just trying to get x by itself now. So the only way to get x by itself is to divide by 12. So x is going to be equal to negative 36 divided by 12, negative 3. So there you go. We've got x. Now we need to find y. And again, any of these three equations will work. I'm going to choose this top equation. I'm not really a big fan of any of them. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in an x. So I took this top equation. Where that first x was, I plugged in negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 3 is going to be equal to 9. Negative times a negative makes a positive. Plus 3y equals 3. From here, subtract your 9 over. So minus 9 minus 9. 3y. 3y is equal to 3 minus 9. Negative 6. Divide by 3. Y is equal to negative 6 divided by 3, negative 2. There you go. X equals negative 3. Y equals negative 2. Let's try another one. Let's look at number 5. So guys, with number 5, I've got negative 3x minus 4y equals 2. And I also have 3x plus 3y equals negative 3. And again, to do elimination, one of my variables, it has to be the same. Well, hey, on my x's, both of these numbers are 3. So I'm good to go. I can go ahead and begin to either add or subtract these two equations. Now ask yourself, if you do negative 3, and here, we'll even check it. Negative 3 minus 3, does that give me 0? That's telling me negative 6. What if I do negative 3 plus 3? That's 0. So I need to add these two equations together. Now, I just solved my first set, my first x's, and that gives me 0. That's what we're trying to do here. Negative 4 plus 3. So let's move on. So negative 4 plus 3, negative 1. So that's going to be negative 1y. And that's going to be equal to 2 plus negative 3. That's also going to be negative 1. Now I divide by negative 1. Y is equal to 1. Now let's find x. So I'm going to plug y into one of these equations. I'm going to choose the second one this time. Again, doesn't matter which one. So 3x plus 3. Now I'm going to plug in what y is. So I'm going to plug in 1 equals negative 3. And let's solve. So 3x plus 3 equals negative 3. Now subtract 3. So minus 3, minus 3. A lot of 3's on this problem. 3x is equal to negative 3 minus 3, negative 6. And from there, divide by 3 on both sides. X equals negative 6 divided by 3, negative 2. So there you go. Y is equal 1. X equals negative 2. We're going to do something, guys, a little different on number 6. So for class today, I'm going to find out who's watching these videos and who's not. On number 6, I want you to solve this problem using elimination. And your problem is negative 2x minus y equals negative 9. And this is going to be your homework for today. I want you to take these two equations. Your second one is 5x minus 2y equals 18. I want you to solve this problem through elimination. And I want you to email me x equals and y equals. So I want you to email me what you found these two problems to equal. What is x equal and what is y equals? And if you still don't know my email this far into the year, I'm going to provide it here at the bottom of this video. You can always there you have it. So there's the email. Go ahead and submit your x equals and your y equals to that email address. Tell me what you got for them. And there you go. There's your homework. So problem number 6. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You've got several examples now of substitution, a couple examples of elimination. From there, see what you can do on number 6. Guys, I hope you enjoyed, and everybody have a great rest of the day.